Alright, welcome back to another cheat tutorial. Unfortunately, I didn't want to have to do this, but I don't see any reason I shouldn't. And basically, I'm giving all the little cheaters, you know, the cabal of cheaters that pass cheat tables around and shit like that, especially team total shit, you know how I'm talking about. I'm basically giving those people the middle finger and telling them to go fuck themselves, especially with this particular hack here. People have been asking for this hack. Someone asked me about a year ago if I could do this for them, and honestly I couldn't do it at the time because I didn't know anything about cheat engine. I didn't know how, you know, even what to look for. But years passed, figured out, you know, a lot about games. Currently hacking Neo, messing around with that. It's way harder to hack that game than this game. This game's a joke. This game is basically trash as far as I'm concerned. It's not all that fun either. But yeah, someone posted a video, TS Inks or whatever the fuck that loser's last name is. People were asking him for it. Of course, you know, they go dead silent. Of course, they pass the shit around amongst each other, but they won't give it to anyone else. And you know, that kind of rubs me the fucking wrong way because it's a, you know, it's a cabal of cheaters. So, and they go around beating up on people and, you know, sitting back laughing about it, thinking that shit's funny. Well, you can go fuck yourself because be able to beat up on them now, and they're gonna have the same shit you're gonna have. And yeah, I sat down. I took a break last night, Christmas Eve, from Neo, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to find out how, or figure out how to disable collision. And it didn't take me all that long since I, you know what to look for now. But yeah, so basically what's happening is, okay, there's two different types of collision in this game. Like this wall here, that's an object. That's object collision. Okay, this wall over here, object collision. But the traffic, that's vehicle collision, and that's totally different. Like if this car hits me, totally different collision. So I'll show you the difference here. So what these scripts here will be in the description box as usual, and if you don't know how to add that to your cheat engine, I'll show you here in a second. But first thing you want to do is you want to click on single click the monitor with a magnifying glass on it. It'll bring this little process list up, and you'll double click what Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. So once you've double clicked that, and you should have some cheats in there, but if you're new and this is the first video we're watching, I'll kind of walk you through it. So we'll take a look at the scripts first, and we'll do object collision. Most of people's probably just using this one right here, but I got two of them. This was the first one I found, and this was the easiest to find. Collision in these games are usually when you touch something and you're colliding with the object, then it goes 1, and if you're not touching it, it's 0. It's just that simple. But it takes a while to sort all these out. It just doesn't appear by itself, and you got to kind of know what to look for in assembly. This one kind of jumped out at me because, you know, it had 1 and it went to 0, and it was messing with his address in a certain location in memory, and I was like, you know, that's probably it, and it was. So oh, and yeah, and this TS Baggett, it has his video displaying this, you know, and people's like, oh, can I have that? Can I have that? And he's like, you know, goes silent. This guy's a dick. Anyway, he's, oh, wrote a script for that disabled, you know, the collision. Oh yeah, all you had to do was move the integer 0 and it, you know, EAX, and that's it. Oh, that's a really complicated script. So yeah, so let's do it first. So we're going to disable object collision. So that doesn't get you past the cars. See, we can still collide with the cars, but remember what I told you about the walls? Yep, they're right through that. Now, just so you know, there is an invisible box that's not being displayed. Now, I figure this is kind of like when I was messing around with Farming Simulator 2013 back in the day. There's like an invisible box there that doesn't have collision on the other side of this barrier, right? So we can poke our nose in there and we fall off. We could fall off the map there because that's not the scenery and shit doesn't have a collision on it by default. But there should be an invisible box there. So you're online and you get knocked over that barrier and go flying. Well, you're gonna hit that invisible box. It has no collision on it, and it's gonna trigger something in the game. It'll go to like a 1, and it's gonna tell the game, hey, you need to respawn that player, and this will happen. See how it respawned me back? See, it's just respawned me right there. See? Now that I didn't mess with. So let's head up the road here, and I'll show you another object. So let's say he was most wanted, right? Well, if you just want to camp out there, and You camped out in the middle of the rocks. They can't get to you. They can't even see you. And of course, if you wanted to, you could mess with the radar part of it and show yourself somewhere else. And yeah, I think you get the point. So this is object collision. Now, let me show you something else. Oh, and just so you know, let's say you're playing Hot Pursuit. Yes, you cannot get hit by spikes. I think you can take EMP damage. I can't remember if it... I know it'll hit you, but... I don't know if it... I can't remember right off if it gives... if you take damage or not, but it doesn't matter. You could either, you know, turn the God script I gave you and all in, you know, the the script that rules them all. Well, okay, now I'm going to set this up and show you what it does. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn that off. We're going to come in here and set up hotkeys, and we're going to just momentarily set this one to our left thumbstick.
All collision activated.
Yeah, we still got that link to that. So let's go ahead and disable that one for a second. Well, let's just make it the right thumbstick then. So we'll double click it, we'll just clear this, we'll use this one for our right. Now I'll make it my left bumper, shoulder button. Okay, and then we'll set this one to the left. Thumbstick, how'll work. So, there we go. So that's on. I'll turn the voicing on so you can know when it's activated. So, that's got that. So that'll turn
disable object collision
that on
activated.
and off.
Disable object
okay.
Disable object collision
and our left
deactivated.
shoulder button will turn all collision on.
Deactivated.
Okay. So we're just messing around with the object. So we're going to turn our collision off, and we should be able to drive through the side of this bridge, right?
Disable
Watch what happens.
Collision activated.
Okay. And there's what happens. You'll fall straight through the map. But there's a way around that. Disable it as you go through the wall, as you're passing just through it. Disable it, and then you will collide with the ground. So I'm going to leave it disabled, and then turn it off.
Disable object collision
See?
deactivated.
So if you want to lead the most wanted, or if you're most wanted, and you want to get away from them. Just pass through the, turn the collision on, pass through the barrier up there, or object, jump off the bridge, and then disable it before you hit the ground, and you can get away from them pretty quick that way too. So I thought I'd just show you that. It's pretty neat, right? Alright, enough of that bullshit. Well, some of these things, like I don't know if it's got it here. I'll disable it.
Disable object collision.
Yeah.
Activated.
See, there's an invisible box right along here. You touch it, you get respawned. Okay. Just know that most things with a fence around them, either a wire fence, a wooden fence, they got those invisible boxes and they'll kick you back out. If it doesn't have a fence around it, then you can likely drive through it and not get respawned. That's how that works. So as you can see, our traffic collision's still on. We can park our car right in here if we want. See, you can't see us. Now you can. I thought this was pretty cool. Okay, we're done with that part.
Disable object
Alright.
collision deactivated.
Here's what you're really after, right? Now, when we enable this part of the script, it disables objects and traffic. So that's this, and it's doing basically the same thing. Now, I found this one right here first and then backtracked up the assembly code and was testing, this EAX appears more than once and is messing with more than one address. So I decided I want to, set that to 0 and see what it does, and that took care of all of it. So yeah, this is the one most people use. So if I hit my
disable all collision activated.
if I hit my right shoulder button, now we can pass through cars. We can drive through the bridge. Just don't do something stupid where there's like no ground or something. So we can just drive through. Now, right there. Why did it kick me? Well, if you was playing an actual online game and someone knocked you over there, see, there's no collision on that part. You just fall to your death. But say if someone would knock you in there, yeah, it's got to respawn you. But like I said, anything with a fence around it is going to kick you probably back out. But like these rocks, there's no fence around it, so you can just park your car in there if you want. So, yeah. Pretty cool, right?
Disable all collision
So,
deactivated.
as you can see, these scripts are fucking child's play. I mean, it's just one fucking line for this shit. It doesn't take a genius to figure this shit out. You just got to know what to look for. And I thought that was kind of funny that someone was trying, this TS Inks was trying to pass this shit off. He had his video, you know. Oh, I wrote this script and disabled the traffic collision, and he was calling it ghost mode and all that shit, stupid dumbass shit. And I was like, well, yeah, you found this one and just, you know, stuck the 0 in for EX all the time, and that disables collision because it can never go to 1. Okay, but, you know, I don't know if he found this one or not because this just disables objects alone, but yeah, this is all he done. There's nothing to this, folks. He's not some fucking genius. They also got access to tools that they're passing them around that someone else created. I've seen a post where someone created that shit where you could hack, you know, literally alter the game's code. That's how they're adding extra events. They're adding back, you know, certain shit. I think he posted a video a while back where he made the terrain on the map. He's turned collision on for that. Because, see, it's rendered, it's visible, but it doesn't have collision turned on it, so you can't drive on it. Some places you can. There's a little bit of collision, you know, part of the map there you can drive on, but most of the time you cannot drive on that shit, so I thought that was kind of interesting. Anyway, this stuff's not rocket scientist, and basically this is just me giving them the middle finger because people have been asking for this. They won't give it away, so fuck them and the horse they rode in on. There you go. And yeah, both these scripts will be in the description box. Just copy them, and if you're not sure how to do that and add them to the game, and you're new, let's say you're brand new to the game and this is the first video you watch. All right, well, you won't have anything down here in script-wise. So what you want to do is you'll come up here, you'll type like I don't know, just 666, right? You'll just search, do a scan, doesn't matter what it brings back. Just click on one of these up here, hit Control B, and that'll bring this up. This is a memory viewer, and you'll hit Control A. Then you'll take one of these scripts down here in the description box. You'll highlight it all. You'll hit Control C. You'll come over here to this auto assemble. You'll hit Control V to paste it in there, and you just come over to File, assign the current cheat table, and click it, and that's it. And then you can come over and double click on the name part of it. It'll say like, let's go ahead and do it. Right there, it'll say auto assemble script, and you'll just come in here and give it a name, double click it, and you're done. And you can just turn it on and off, or you can hotkey it right here. So yeah, it's really simple. Of course, if you got something down here already, then you can just hit Control B and do the same thing. So, Merry Christmas, have fun with it, and yeah. Oh, another thing before I leave you is if you're playing online, you can get about halfway through the opponent's car, and then the collision detection starts picking up on their end, not your end. You pass right through them regardless, but on their end, it sees the car going through them. So when I drive through people online at like, you know, 400, 500, 600 miles an hour, about halfway through I get through them, then it sends their car just fucking flying. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, that's another thing. It will collide with their car. I think that's about it. I can't think of anything I'm leaving out here. So I thought, well, disable all collision. I'll just pass right through them online. Nope, that's not the way it works. You get about halfway through it, and their computer starts picking up on the coordinates being into them, and that you will collide. It will cause them to crash out. So you can wreck them pretty easy. If they drive through you and you're sitting still, they just pass right through you, but they get wrecked. So this script right here, this disable all collision, is pretty fucking nasty. So yeah, this is every bit as good as the other script I give you, the one script to rule them all, or I call it the God mode. But alright, one last thing before I let you go. Just know that if you run into these other cheating assholes online, I've only seen a few people that know what they're doing, but if you run into them, and if they're hosting the game, don't even bother, just bail, because this game doesn't have a dedicated server. So if they're hosting the game, all the information's coming into their computer, and yes, they can gain access to your health and kill you before the event even begins. So don't even bother playing those jackasses. if they're hosting the game. Now, if they're not hosting the game, they can't do shit. But if they're hosting a game, they're acting like a server, and they'll have access to your information. Your computer will be feeding your health information to them and shit, and they will kill you before the match even starts. Or they'll crash the game on you like a bunch of crybaby bitches they are. So it's best just to avoid those fucking losers at all costs. So have fun with it. Later.